All right, let's dive into something I think we're all feeling lately. It's this modern struggle to just keep our focus on one thing. You know the feeling, right? You sit down, you're ready to read a book or tackle a big project, and then, boom, within minutes you feel that little twitch, that itch to just check your phone, click on another tab, basically do anything other than the one thing you're supposed to be doing. Sound familiar?
And look, if you're nodding along right now, I want you to know something right off the bat. It is absolutely not just you. This isn't some kind of personal failure. This feeling of having our attention shattered into a million little pieces, it's pretty much a defining feature of life today. It's a huge collective thing we're all going through.
Now, to really get a handle on what's going on, we need to put a name to it. So today, we're going to unpack this idea of the attention recession. Seriously, this concept is key to understanding why our ability to concentrate, to really think deeply, feels like it's becoming a rare species.
So what is it exactly? Well, the attention recession is this state we're in where our collective ability to focus on one thing for, more than a few minutes gets tougher and tougher. And the main culprit? It's this nonstop, overwhelming flood of digital speed and stimulation that we're all just swimming in 24/7.
And if we're going to talk about digital acceleration, well, there's one engine that's really driving the train, isn't there? Platforms like TikTok have basically perfected a way of delivering content that is just faster, more powerful, and more relentless than anything we've ever seen.
The secret sauce here is something called hyper-optimized content loops. Just think of it as a bottomless, perfectly tuned stream of short videos. You watch a 15-second clip that gives you a little chuckle, and before you've even had a second to really process it, the next one is already rolling. Each video is a tiny jolt of novelty, a little hit of satisfaction, immediately followed by the next and the next. There's literally no off-ramp.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. This isn't just some passive background noise we can ignore. The source material calls it a relentless velocity that actively erodes deep focus. The word there that really matters is actively. The whole system is designed in a way that works directly against our ability to concentrate.
Okay, but here's where it gets really fascinating, and maybe a little scary. This goes way deeper than just building bad habits. This constant velocity is physically changing the way our brains are wired. So let's get into the actual neurological stuff that's happening.
I love this way of thinking about it. Picture your brain's pathways like trails in a forest. The path for deep, sustained, linear focus, that's one trail. And the path for fragmented, quick-switching, reward-seeking attention, that's another. The more you use that rapid switching trail, the wider and more beaten down it gets. Meanwhile, the trail for deep focus, it starts to get overgrown, weedy, and a whole lot harder to find and walk down.
And this whole rewiring thing, it happens in this little 4-step cycle. First, you engage with that endless content loop. Second, your brain gets a tiny reward, a little hit of dopamine from all that novelty. Third, and this is the big one, those pathways for deep focus, they don't get used, so they start to weaken, to atrophy. And finally, your brain starts to crave that quick, easy stimulation more and more, which makes sitting down to do hard, deep work feel like an impossible chore.
So okay, our brains are being rewired. What's the big deal? Why does this actually matter in the real world? Well, the price we pay for this lost focus is very real. It affects our ability to learn, to create, and honestly, even just to find a moment of peace and quiet in our own heads.
The stakes here are pretty high. For starters, we're seeing it in how hard it is to just read a long book anymore. The very thing that helps us build complex ideas. Then there's our ability for that deep, creative thinking that solves tough problems, whether you're a scientist, an artist, or an entrepreneur. Third, it creates this constant humming feeling of restlessness, making it hard to just be present. And finally, it makes finishing those big, complex, one-thing-at-a-time projects incredibly difficult, which, you can imagine, has huge consequences for our careers and our goals. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. The digital speed we're all living in isn't just a simple distraction. It is fundamentally altering the cognitive pathways in our brains. It's reshaping how we think. This isn't about personal productivity hacks. This is about the very cognitive foundation our society needs to solve its biggest challenges.
And that leaves us with a pretty big, kind of tough question to chew on. As we keep moving forward in a world that's built for endless speed, is the ability to actually engage in deep, sustained focus, is that becoming a luxury? A skill that only a few people will have? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.